Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, that seems delayed. Sorry, I was concentrating. I can only concentrate so hard.
Sorry, I was concentrating.
Right, that's not bad.
I can only concentrate so hard. Sorry, I was concentrating.
Let's let's get this mirroring going. Old kitchen TV. I might put volume to the bedroom or the TV in the kitchen. But don't care. All right, so right now I realized I hadn't cleaned that, so I got the heat on that. You can watch the zany world of me cleaning my cast iron for a little bit here. Put a little water on that. This will be our little scrubby dub. I believe the volume is coming off the. Got a little residue from the previous iteration of breakfast. Scraped it down pretty good, but yeah, that looks nasty, doesn't it? Get some more water on there. Try to scrape the big chunks up. Just stay right there, big chunks. Don't go nowhere. Let's see if we can encapsulate the big chunks in the old wet paper towel here. I'm sure there's better techniques. Be my guest. Employ them at your leisure. But this is what I found worked really good. See all them detritus there? Yep. Got them. Got them! Let's get it. Whoa, don't let those fall. Oh, please. Knock this stuff over. My paper towels are almost empty in the kitchen, so I've been having to go to a second paper towel location. I think I got more on hand. It's just, actually, I don't even know if I have more on hand. Let me turn this heat off for a second. We're going with the power of steam. Steam and heat will sterilize all the evil from this pan. Right? Getting that old drip tray out. Yeah, we harvest the drip tray. Don't worry. It's 2023. We need to be harvesting your drip trays. you're gonna need those drip trays, kids. Oh wait, what got here? Hey, how are you, Elveshelves? Oh, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. What do you think? Clean enough? We might do one more paper towel in there. Yeah, I try to save the planet. Don't use too many paper towels, but sometimes, yeah. I'm trying to think. I didn't take a private jet to a foreign nation today, so I can use paper towel. Right? Is that how that works? See how clean is it coming out? Well, pull up a little residue. I truly feel if I scraped on this thing forever, all the seasoning would just come right off, and I'd have no seasoning on my pan. And by seasoning, it's the burnt. It's time for breakfast. Well, you right. You right. You right. We're doing it up today, kids. We got the thick cut pecan, black label, thick cut pecan. Oop, left my wet paper towel on there too long. Now I got wet paper towel stain on the old cast iron. Whatever. I'm calling that enough burnt stuff coming off and cleaning up for me. I gotta turn that TV down. It's repeating in my ear. Hold please. Volume down. Oh man. So yeah. This week. How about this week, kids? Let's use the coffee mug to sum up this week. Oh, sorry about the Yep. Unfortunately, my weeks are blurring. I don't think I got any tools this week. Although I do have a funny story about a tool that I own. I don't know if I've ever talked about this. I probably have. I talk about everything. I got these super large DeWalt chalk lines. When I say super large, I mean, it's almost as big as this plate here. It's like a mega giant chalk line. I think they're kind of designed for like street work, concrete work, where the line is kind of just a guide. You don't need a precise line because the line it puts down is almost an 1/8 inch. Well, I acquired one once in my life and it broke, and I was sad. And what broke on it was a really simple thing. So, like, you got the chalk line, it's a clamshell, obviously, that opens up. There's a reel of string inside, all the chalk inside, and then when you close it, there's a hand crank. Well, these had a 3-to-1 gear ratio. So on the hand crank, there was a large gear that went off to an offset. Well, I guess technically what would it be? The spindle that went through that hold the reel was offset to the center of the thing, and on the offset there was a square piece that kind of looked like the end of a ratchet, you know, like that would snap into a socket. That engaged into the chalk line reel, and then from that there was a helica cut gear. When I say helica cut, it's a gear that spirals. It allows gears to go 90, I guess. So that came up vertical, then there was a flat gear that you cranked. So the flat gear teeth engaged this one, and it spun diddle-diddle-dee, whatever. These teeth would break, or they broke, you know. And I called DeWalt. I was like, yo, can I just get one of these? And you could pull the piece out. It was a piece of plastic about as big as the fingertip here. Just helica gear at the top and that socket engaging square piece at the bottom. Like, it almost looked like you could just put a ratchet in there and just do it that way. You probably could. That's probably what most people end up doing. Oh, hold on a second. I'm a DeWalt fanboy. Yeah, so, and DeWalt's got pretty good warranties on their stuff, so I call them up. I was like, yo, can you send me this fucking gear? Like, just send me, put it in an envelope, just send me one. I'll just pop it in. To get to that part of the tool was 4 screws, Phillips drive. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, pull the plate off. There's no chalk, there's no springs, there's nothing. You just pull the gear out, throw that in the trash, put the new gear in, close it, 4 screws, and your thing would work again, right? Pretty simple. Yeah, worm gear, if you will. There you go. I think a worm gear is a helica cut gear. You know what it's called? It doesn't matter. It's a spiral cut gear. It allows it to go 90. I mean, that's really what a worm drive is the motor going this way and then the gear going that way it's like on a saw, right? Worm drive, the motor's oriented this way and the blade's that way. So the motor spinning this goes to a gear, it turns right or left, if you will, and goes that way, right? Whereas like a cheap saw, the motor's oriented that way and just spins. The blade just spins. Anyways, enough about gears. Called them and I asked them just to send me this piece of plastic. This is years ago. And their answer was, sorry, sir, we can't send you a piece of plastic. We don't have any of those to send. But what we can do is send you a brand new chalk reel. And I'm like, well, okay, but I only need that little piece of gear. Like, it probably costs you 15 cents. You got to have 100 million of these things laying around someplace. Like, I'm surprised, based on how it broke, that you don't just have a pile of them sit next to the customer support and the guy just reach in the bin, grab a handful, put them in a Ziploc bag, and just mail them to me. But whatever, send me whatever you want. They sent me another one. That's fine. So I got a brand new chalk reel that had the gear in it. It worked. And I'm trying to think what happened. Oh, the clowns that were putting the concrete floor in one of the houses I was building, they were getting ready to do the concrete pour, and they didn't have a chalk line. And I'm like, dude, you don't have a chalk line? You need to chalk the outside of the perimeter of the foundation so you know how high to pour the concrete. It's like, Jesus Christ. Like, that's like 101, dude. So I was like, here, use my giant chalk line. Like, don't fuck this up, you know, like. So I gave him the chalk line, but the problem was it'd been really a lot of dew that morning, so the walls were all wet. So they pulled the chalk line out, snapped the wall. The chalk line got wet. They reeled it back in. The chalk was damp. It clogged up. They kept doing that. Then eventually, it must have clogged enough again where the gear broke. Whatever. Unfortunately, I'd only had the opportunity to use that chalk line approximately 5 times, maybe 6. We'll say a dozen, but it wasn't. I think I chalked the interior of a garage, so I knew how to far to backfill. That's what I did. And it was 1, 2, 3, 4 at most lines. Anyways, so essentially an absolutely brand new chalk line broke. So, whatever. Call up DeWalt. It's like, can you send me one of these gears? Once again, just need the gear. This thing's barely been used. And their answer was, no, sorry, we can't do that. We're going to have to send you a brand new chalk line. I'm like, do whatever you got to do. Like, I'll just take the gear. And once again, I don't need the whole thing. I have 2 now that have broken gears, and you just give me a gear. They sent me a brand new chalk line, although they upgraded the design on the new chalk line. They took away the 3-to-1 gear ratio because they just did. Whatever. Well, me being me, I never got rid of my other chalk lines, and I was talking with somebody the other day who owns a 3D printer, and I was like, yo, I need you to print me up, and I described, the little square part of the end of a ratchet, about that much, and then from there, a gear, spiral, helica cut. Can you make one of those for me? He's like, what are you talking about? And I told him, he's like, well, let's just look on, it's called Thingiverse. It's a website. Well, let's see if it's on Thingiverse, if anyone else is like designed one of these things. We go on Thingiverse, guess what? It's already designed. Someone else is like, yeah, these things are, I just need one of these. So we're like, dooba-dooba-doo, pull file on expandable memory card, into printer, select file, print, and I could have one, except for I don't own a 3D printer, and the 3D printer guy that I know lives in a state far, far away. So pretty cool that someone's already designed the thing. I just can't believe for the life of me that the old DeWalt didn't just send me a gear, but whatever. So it sounds like maybe I'm going to get a chalk line fix here one of these years if I ever get that thing sent to me. It's kind of crazy. It's just so weird. It's like, I had another tool made by Swanson. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Swanson. They make like squares and straight edges and stuff. I had a Swanson adjustable square. I call them carpenter squares. It does a 90 on one side and a 45, and then the thing slides back and forth on the ruler. And I had one, and like it was pretty new. Like I didn't use it very much, and it fell out of my pouch and it hit the ground. And before that, I was using a Stanley. I have a yellow Stanley that I've had since I was like 16 years old. Had it forever. It's like the one I've used forever. Dropped it 1,000 times. It's all beat to shit. Well, anyways, Swanson, I drop it one time, and like the way that that mechanism works, you got your ruler, you got your 90 and your 45, and then there's a threaded nut here, and the threaded nut goes to a spring-loaded little capture device that goes into a groove on the ruler. And as you tighten that nut, the capture device squeezes down on the groove, and it holds the ruler in place. It's not very complicated, but that broke. Like the casting broke. It's made of brass, I think. It just snapped. And it's like, whoa, dude! Like, I didn't drop it like 1,000 miles. It just like fell to the ground. Like, yeah, I get it. You're not supposed to drop your stuff, but like, geez, man. So I called him up. And I was like, kind of a weird request, but like I kind of just dropped my tool a little bit, and it just broke. Like clean break. And I explained it like I got a Stanley one here. I've had it for 1,000 years and it never broke. And the person on the phone was kind of like, it kind of got quiet for a second. They're like, yeah, no, we know about that. Why don't you just give me your address? I'm going to send you like 4 or 5 of those because, yeah. It's like they fully knew they had a shit like casting or a shit, whatever, the metal they used or whatever was just garbage. And they knew they'd sold millions of these things. And they was like, you know that called? They just sent them a handful of them because they're all going to keep breaking. I broke another one. So I broke 2. Last time I broke, I could barely remember where my pile of extra parts was. But yeah, man. Did I talk about the Craigslist score last week? I think I did. Jeez, my brain. Let's cook some bacon. I started looking up some of that stuff that I got from the dude in the town adjacent to me, and it's interesting. Some of the stuff's pretty interesting. Like there were some 100-foot tapes in there, and like, don't get me wrong. Like when it comes to the world of 100-foot tapes, not everybody's in the market for a 100-foot tape. Oops. Let's just go low in the back. Sorry, my brain's not working. But I on occasion will use 100-foot tape. It's not a lot of people are using 100-foot tapes. That's I mean, it's just the fact of life. And like, I told the guy on my YouTube channel, and if he's watching, then no big deal. Like, I think what you sold me the stuff to was fair because it was just a bunch of stuff you're never going to use. But one of those tapes that was in there, that is a unique tape. Because most 100-foot tapes are just metal painted numbers tape, like doop. Not too crazy. But one of those tapes that was in there was some sort of like super unique tape that like I think it was designed to use on like, I don't know how you describe it when it comes to like construction. Like there's regular construction, and then there's like construction where the budget is irrelevant because it's such a project and you just need stuff that's just going to work and it doesn't matter what it costs. Because this tape, and of course this is a used tape, so like none of these, like it's all relative. But the tape I think is made with, I think the actual metal in the tape was stainless steel. As opposed to like, I don't know what regular tapes are made out of, painted steel. Like, they use special. My brain's not like a tape measure. You can bend it; it doesn't like snap. So it's a special type of steel, but it's normally coated in paint so it won't rust. Right? It's like when you go to your garage, you pull your tape out. It's going to be painted probably yellow or like white maybe, and it's going to have black numbers painted on there. Well, this one tape that was in that box was not a painted tape. It's a stainless steel tape with painted numbers on it. And like I looked it up on some of like, is this still available? And there was like places that sell that tape for like over $100. And some of those websites are like, oh yeah, welcome to our you're building a $5 billion project and you want to buy your shit. It's like it's kind of like Grainger. I've been to Grainger, like everything's super expensive there. And I looked on eBay and you could get them for far cheaper used. But I've never, and then when I pulled the tape out, you feel it's like I've never experienced anything like that. Like I don't think I own any what I would call industrial grade tools. That's what I would call that tape. It's like an industrial grade 100-foot tape. It's really bizarre. It was pretty beat up, like the skin on the outside was pulling off, and it's got a little bit of, there was a crease in part of it. I mean, it's not, trust me, it's not a brand new tape by any sense of the imagination. But it was just like, when I was going through the stuff, I pulled the tape out to like mess with it, and it's like, the second it was in my hand, I was like, whoa! Like when you pull the thing out of the case, you just instantly like, whoa, this is different. What do we got here? That's an experience I've never experienced before. Because I don't buy tools like that. Trying to think what else was kind of neat. You know, it's all everything's relative, right? But like one of the chalk lines that was in that toolbox. I went on eBay just to see what it was all about, and like you could buy them, they got them, but like one of the toolboxes, I guess, because it's so old, like the only thing I can guess is like, I mean, I can't speak for the guy that I bought it from, but I'm pretty sure he kind of mentioned it. He would go to. It seems as though he was going to farm auctions and buying stuff, you know. And I know people that know people that know people that go to farm auctions, and you go to a farm auction and if you see something you want and it's in a lot, you have to buy all that crap. And when you get home, you take what you want, and then you got all this shit laying around. Like for the files, for example, the guy who bought a box of files because he wanted a file, and it's like, I mean, I've kind of heard people like selling the shit in the street afterwards. Like, anybody wanted this shit? Like, I mean, I did that. My neighbor had an auction, and like, I wanted a piece of cast iron out of his auction, but it was like a whole lot. But I needed the piece of cast iron, like I needed kicked in the teeth, and like the bidding started, someone else bid it on it. As soon as someone else bid it, I was like, I'm not interested. Like I don't need that. It's not worth it, you know. And then after the thing, I went and talked to the person. I was like, hey, quick question. You bought that lot of cast iron there. Are you interested in the piece that I want? He's like, no, I only want this piece. And I was like, I give you $1. And he's like, sold, because he was just going to have to get like, so I bought it off the dude after the auction, I guess, type of a deal. This isn't hot enough, unfortunately. But, I mean, whatever. So anyways, like, looking at these super old school chalk lines, like one of them I think was from like the 20s. So on eBay, they got them. You could buy them. They're not expensive, $5 or whatever. but like they're all look like they're from the year they're from. They're all like beat up and rusted. The one I got is like, so the only thing I can come up with is like, this is my theory. So the dude that I got the box of tools from, he went to an auction and he bought a box of carpenter's tools from a dude who wasn't a carpenter, but did his own carpentry. So it was probably a farmer who built his own house or built his own barn. And when you build your own stuff, you got to have the tools to build your stuff. It's required, like you have to. But you don't use it every single day and wear it out. So I think that's what it was. I think it was a dude who like probably built his own buildings, you know, back in the 20s and the 30s. And, you know, it's not a general rule, but quite often when you own land and you're building buildings, it's not because you're a poor person, so you buy kind of nice stuff. So he was buying good quality tools, and then he was using them, but then they weren't getting used 7 days a week, 365 days a year. That's why they were in such decent shape, which is kind of cool. I mean, that's kind of the way you want to do it in life if you're buying used tools. You want to buy the tools from the guy who bought good stuff but never used them. Like, I'm trying to think what the example was a couple months ago. Like buying plumbing tools off an electrician. I did that once. I bought plumbing wrenches off an electrician once because I knew the guy was an electrician and he had plumbing tools for sale. Because when I say plumbing, I mean pipes and stuff. Because when you do electrical work, you do deal with pipe, like in the electrical box, the fittings around the electrical box. That is threaded pipe, and yeah, you got to do that. But like that ain't what you're doing all day. That's like it's not full of shit. It's not full of pee or breakfast bacon grease or whatever. It's like clean stuff. And it's like, dude, that's the stuff you want to buy. Like the stuff that's still good but not been abused to death or whatever. So that's kind of fun. I'm trying to think what else I learned about. Like this week, I'm blurring. That chainsaw I bought, I watched some videos on that. Yeah, I paid $5 for it. I might not have got a good deal on that. That's apparently a nightmare chainsaw. Now, if I go throw gas at that thing and I pull the rope and it runs, yeah, it's worth $5 for sure. But the way that they designed that particular chainsaw, it's kind of crazy. So, like, you got the chainsaw in the case, and then you got the gas tank, which is a gas oil, I think, one piece with a divider. And the way it's assembled, it's kind of assembled never to come apart again because you can't get to the carburetor because the carburetor is on the inside of the back of the case. So to get to the carburetor, you have to crack the case, you have to pull the gas tank off, but the gas tank is designed to go to the front of the case, and then there's like a plug with a seal that has a kickstand, if you will, or a tab that goes in the case to hold it there, and then they snap the gas tank to that plug, and on the back side of that plug is the hose that goes to the carburetor. That's all inside. It's like one of the things like line it all up and sealed forever. So to get to the carburetor, you have to like pop that tank off the plug and hope you don't break it, and then you got to like, I guess getting it back together is like nightmare fuel, because like I watched a whole video of a guy doing it. And you can't cut the hose can't be cut any longer or shorter, or it doesn't work. If you cut it too short, you can't put it together. If you cut it too long, it kinks. Like I read one review of a guy who runs a chainsaw repair shop, and if someone brings one of these chainsaws in, what he does is he puts a new carburetor in it, he cleans the air filter, he puts fresh gas in it, he pulls the rope, and if he doesn't run, he tells the person it can't be repaired. And he's a professional chainsaw repairman. That's what he says, because he's like, it ain't worth it. It's not worth the time and effort to tear it apart to try to fix it, because it's such a pain in the ass. But I mean, that's a dude charging by the hour or whatever, you know, because like when it's all said and done, if for that professional to do that, your bill is going to be more than what a chainsaw would cost to go, you know. I don't think I have my heat nearly high enough. Let's get some heat going here, kids. Tell all my chainsaw stories. Where are we at? We got any more? Nope, no more comments. Everybody's just fascinated by the stories. Okay. So I haven't messed with that chainsaw yet. I mean, the real reason I got it was the case. Because it was a decent case. I mean, it's not like, oh, look at that amazing case. It's just like, well, it's a case, a blown mold plastic case. I believe for a 16-inch barred chainsaw, which I have one. So, not that I travel with a chainsaw very often, but when you do travel with a chainsaw, a case isn't a bad thing to have. I can assure you of that. I got a chain guard on it, but it's still not the same as having a case, so that's kind of cool. And the files, you know, I worked on the files. All the files I got did work. And I didn't film any of that because, like, dude, I'm not going to film me, like, try to take the rust off a file, and like, I don't even know if I'm doing it right. I'm just like taking a wire brush wheel thing and trying to get the chunks of stuff out and putting some oil on it, try to stop the rust. I mean, probably what I should do is soak it in a, probably should soak it in a vinegar bath or something, but like, I mean, a couple of them are just, what would you call that kind of rust? Just moisture from the air rust. They weren't actually in water. It's just like they sat around so long that the condensation of life just started to rust the surface. That was, I had 2 files that were like that. The rest of them all were like someone hit it like sheetrock with them or did something with it and like clogged it all up. That's why the dude gave them to me for so cheap, because like, you know, he knew what was involved. Because he was kind of like, well, you know, I'll take the good ones, like everything with a handle. He's like, I'll take all the ones with the handles. Like, the rest of them he wasn't really interested in, because like, he wasn't really a woodworking kind of guy, and you either got to work wood or you got to buy a handle for your. So whatever. I got one with a handle. I've actually already used it at work. Nice wood rasp. I already took that to work and used it. I think it's pretty cool. And I found out that I got a huge rasp. It's about that wide by about like that, about a 1/4 inch thick. I believe it's a horse hoof rasp. I think is what it is. I just saw it. I was like, dude, that's the craziest thing I've ever seen. I was like, can I get that off you? And he's like, yeah, I don't want it. I thought maybe I could use it for something, but like, I don't know. I got like this thing in me that like when I see stuff that I don't know what it is or I've never seen before, I feel compelled. Just like, whoa, that's the craziest thing ever. And I totally found out like the angle making device that I got. It's like it's a flat piece of steel with a bubble level that on a rotator. It's actually a slip square. Like you can actually put a straight edge through there, and it's a carpenter slip square with an angle measuring device. The guy actually told me that, and I didn't believe him. I was like, okay, buddy, it looks like an angle measuring device to me, but whatever. I'm trying to think what else was in there that was kind of cool, that I figured out what it is after the fact. Oh, there was an air brake. Oh, this is kind of nuts. There was this thing in there. It had a screwdriver handle and a big piece of square steel that's maybe thicker than 1/4 inch, probably like not quite 3/8, but maybe 5/16, just solid block square steel, you know, and it went with a bend, and there's a little hook in the top of it. It's just like, what the hell is this? Like, it's obviously something, and it's a very specific something, and like, I couldn't figure it out. It wasn't new, it's used, you know, like whoever owned it used the shit out of it. It's all full of grease and everything, so, you know, I cleaned all the grease off it and like started investigating it. And I finally found a couple stamps on it, and one of the stamps was OTC, which I know is a tool company because I own OTC tools. And I scrubbed it a little harder, and I found a serial number on it, so that was easy. Like OTC, serial number, type it in. They still make that exact same tool. You can buy it on Amazon. Air brake spring tool. So if you're working on air brakes, which I don't have anything that runs air brakes, because like generally air brakes is like 18-wheeler shit, large trailer tractor stuff. It's the tool designed to go in and lever a spring that like holds the brakes in, which is like a pain in the ass to do if you don't have this tool. So like that was kind of a neat surprise. It's like, oh, like that's one of those tools where like the part that would wear out on it is replaceable. So basically what it is it's a specially designed bar with the perfect kink to go around all the shit that's in the way of a brake. And then there's a little hook on it that holds the spring, and that part has 2 Allen bolts that you can replace it if you wear that little hook out. But I guess the way you do it if you don't have the tool is you use a screwdriver or a notch screwdriver or whatever, and you do it that way. And probably a million sets of brakes have been done that way, most likely. And someone's like, you know what, let's just design the tool that does this correctly, and then you can buy that tool and you can do your air brake springs the correct way. So, must have been a farmer that had a tractor, a trailer, and he had to do his own brakes. So that was cool. In case I ever get an 18-wheeler, I can do my own brakes. If you know guys doing air brake springs, I can hook you up for a small fee, right? Trying to think of what other stuff that was kind of cool in there that I found out later. I mean, there were some copper pipe flaring tools, but unfortunately, the world has changed where if you're going to do brake lines now, you have to double flare your brake lines, otherwise you're considered like absolutely irresponsible. Well, what I got is single flare brake line tools, or I mean copper pipe tools. And I looked into it. I think I might be able to get the dies. I couldn't get a definitive answer of how it actually works. The way it looks to me is like when you do flarings on copper pipes, you got this tool that opens up, clamps around the pipe, and then do a double flare. You set an anvil. You set the pipe to a certain height, basically the height of half the anvil. You set the anvil on there, then you put your threaded down cone shaped tool, and you put the first crimp in. Then you take it apart, take the anvil off, and then you do the second crimp with the cone shaped press, and you get a double crimped flare on your pipe to do your brake lines or whatever. So what I don't know is if I can pick up a set of those anvils and use them with this flaring tool that I've got, because essentially the world has decided if you're going to do high pressure lines like a brake line is, it's not safe to do a single flare because the chance of the wall cracking out are more. It's a larger chance of failure than a double flare. So generally you just don't do it. But they're really nice tools. Like one of them, there was two flaring tools in there, and they're different size. You go from like small all the way up. But one of them was a Blue Point, which is snap-on. Like that's a nice tool, except for it doesn't. The snap-on one didn't have the cone press thing, but I think it's kind of a universal deal. There's another one called, I don't know, Copper Tool Industries. It's basically the exact same tool. But it's like, oh man, that's awesome. But then it's like, oh, what am I going to do with it? Like, I can't do brake lines with it because it's only a single flare tool. So like, I guess if you had to flare a single piece of copper, I mean, I don't know, like air conditioner maybe or something. I have no idea. That was one of the things that like I got really excited about, and then realized, well, that's just a thing that I can probably never use. Like, exciting, but not quite as exciting as I was hoping it would be. We're just gonna cook 8 pieces of these real quick. Have some for a little leftover. Kind of a unique shaped piece of bacon, skinny on one side and thick on the other. Wash my hands real quick. I don't know what it is, like. I'm trying to think, like, I need to figure out, maybe more than halfway through my life, I need to figure out a career where someone will pay me to try to figure out what shit is, or figure out, like, what is that, a research career or something? Like it's kind of like, I kind of enjoy trying to figure shit out. Like, I don't know what that is about me. Like, I was like, dude, back when the 50-cent store was open, I love that shit. Like, trying to figure out what stuff was, and like, it's like a hobby almost. Like, I enjoy it. Like, it's more fun than golf. It's like a mystery, and you try to figure it out, and using like what you've learned in the past, and like trying to make associations. And then when you figure it out, it's like a puzzle. Like, yay! Problem solved. Like, yay! Is that weird? It probably is weird. I'm trying to think of if there was any other little gems. Oh, there was a few. I can't figure out why that bacon grease looks so fucking bizarre right now. Yeah, doesn't matter. There's not a lot of bacon grease going in the old drip can. Sorry, dog. I've been giving her a little bacon grease in her breakfasts in the morning, trying to make the food taste a little better for her. And let's try one of these. Ooh, it's pecan. Dog, show the dog. Show the dog. You want more bacon? Okay. Oh, please. Bacon jam. Hey! You literally bit my finger, you little jerk. Do I have bacon flavored fingers? Yeah. We'll teach you a lesson about biting my finger. Your bacon ration may be limited. Just kidding. Please don't bite my finger. Thank you. So any whoosies. Oh yeah, ratchet strap. So I got a ratchet strap in the box of tools. Actually, what there was that was in there was really weird. It was like 3 ratchet straps, all mismatched or whatever. No big deal. Kind of old, but you know, sometimes in life you just need one more ratchet strap, right? You ever been in that position in life? Bacon real quick. I get bacon grease over everything in the freezer. Sometimes you just need one more ratchet strap. So like that was kind of cool, but it wasn't like I didn't get like super excited over like yay ratchet straps because I kind of have like a lot of ratchet straps. Anyways, eat some more of this bacon real quick. Give old beast just a little bite of root. Mmm, you snorted. I like it. Good girl. Oh, please, I just about choked on bacon. Oh my god, that would have been crazy. What if I choked on live one? That'd be crazy. Anyways, I decided I'd take one of the ratchet straps. It's pink camouflage, which is a very unique color. I'm going to put it in my carpentry kit. Because sometimes in life you just need a ratchet strap when you're trying to move something. Well, normally, because I keep my ratchet straps, or I keep a good arsenal of ratchet straps in my truck, because generally I use ratchet straps to tie loads down when you're pulling a trailer or the truck. That's where I keep them. I don't drive my truck to work because it's expensive to drive a truck down the road, just to get someplace. When all I gotta do is have the the tools in the back of the car. If I have to haul something, yeah, I drive the truck. So I don't have a set of ratchet straps for my car because like when I'm in a ratchet strap to my car, like if I need to ratchet strap something to the car, I'm just gonna go back and get my truck. Like it ain't gonna happen. So, anywho's, got to use that the other day. Oh, what do we got here? Oh, if I was choking, you think you'd come save me? Pretty good chance the doors are locked though. Come through the screen if you're gonna break in. Don't break the glass; it's expensive. I'm trying to think. Would you fit through? You probably have to go to the front. Whatever. Yeah, that bacon. I was just about to reach into my mouth to pull that bacon out because it was like wedged back in there for a second. And I was still chewing it, and part of it was going down. And there was a stringy bit in between. It was kind of caught in there. Like, ooh. Actually, I remember as a kid, this is a true story. When I was a kid, I was in the kitchen of my parents' house, not the house I live in now, but the previous house. So I'd have been less than 12 years old. I was in the kitchen watching TV, and I was eating an orange, and I started choking on an orange. Like, literally, like, I was, like, choking out. And I took my hand, and I just shoved that shit down my mouth, into my throat, and, like, grabbed for it, and I caught part of it, and I pulled it out, dude. But, like, not, like... Woo! Like I was like panting when I got that because I was choking for a while. Like it was like lights out for a second. I thought I was done. Chew your food, kids. Don't forget, chew your food. I feel like there's extra like pecan wood on this bacon. Is that a thing? Putting pecan flavor. Oh, dog's doing the slippy floor shuffle. Do the shuffle. All right, what else? So, let's do a traffic story. I got a pretty good one. So me, I'm not a big fan of like getting pulled over by the police, and I assume that's how other people live their lives as well. So when I see somebody doing something on the public road that would get them pulled over, and I could help them avoid that, I always do. For example, you don't have a tail light, or you don't have a turn signal, or your tire's flat, or whatever. I don't go out of my way, really, but if I have the opportunity, like if I can get next to you and get your attention, I'm going to let you know, like, hey, dummy, you need to fix your whatever, because if a cop sees that, you're going to get, at best, a fix-it ticket, which means you're going to have to fix it, prove you fixed it, and deal with a bunch of bullshit. So I try to save people the ass aching. The majority of the time, it's oh shit, thanks. Because the majority of the time, it's a thing that you would never be able to tell unless someone told you that. Like, it's a lot of brake light stuff. Actually, I have 2 brake light stories for this week. So I was driving down the road, minding my business, and I see a car in front of me with one brake light out. And I get to an intersection where I have to take a right-hand turn to go up a giant hill, and that person's going to go straight next to it's like next to where like a middle school or grade school used to be, and now it's like a preschool, whatever. Pull up next to the guy. And this car's like an older, not old, but an older, not subcompact, but like not a full-size car. Like an economy whatever. It's an old person driving it, and the old person's eating a what do you call them? Donuts that are just long, a Long John donut. This guy's just chomping on a Long John donut, you know, probably listening to his AM radio, enjoying his morning. And I give him the old doot doot and nothing, and the old doot 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 and nothing. And by now I could have gone right on red, and I'm still sitting there doot doot. Now I'm yelling, hey, hey! And I'm honking my horn. And finally, like, whatever, the part of his lizard brain where he realizes he's being summoned kicks in. And he kind of looks over at me like, I'm trying to eat a donut here, buddy. And I give him the old international roll your window down, which is funny because maybe someone could explain this. That's the international roll your window down, although I haven't seen a roll down window. I mean, if I did that to somebody, would they know that I mean roll the window down? Anyways, hand crank your window down. He rolls his window down, and I go, hey, buddy, your brake light's out. And this is what the guy says. He starts with, I know, and then he goes, oh, yeah, thanks. And then he drives away. So the dude knew he had no brake light, but yet he's out driving around eating a donut. And he realized, as he was saying that he knew he didn't have a brake light, how stupid he sounded, because that's a stupid thing to know you don't have a brake light and to do nothing about it. So he already let it out that he already knew about that, just didn't feel like doing anything about it. And then he realized he was saying it, so then he corrected himself and said, oh, hey, thanks for the heads up. And then he just drove away eating his donut. And I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, like, that's next level shit there. Like, I can't fathom that. Like, I can't fathom knowing that you have a brake light out and not, like, addressing it, like, as soon as you could possibly get that addressed. Like, when... Because, like, every moment you're on the road is an opportunity. Or maybe do cops not pull you over for brake lights out anymore? Maybe they don't. Maybe there's better shit to do than that. I have no idea. The other one that I just was like, it just baffled me, is I was going to work and, you know, they're building some duplexes across the way from me now, and the guy doing the concrete work, he's actually kind of my neighbor. He lives down the road from me. Whatever. I never met the guy, but he owns a concrete company, and he was driving down the highway, and he actually pulled onto the highway when I was coming by, so like, whatever, you know, he pulled out, that's fine, I was in the right lane, he just pulled in the left lane, and then got up to speed, he had a skid loader on the back, which, he didn't swerve or nothing, that's pretty, like, kind of ballsy, but like, I guess, you got shit to do, you gotta pull your skid loader with your trailer out onto the highway in the fast lane, hope that I don't change lanes on you. Anyways, he did that, that's cool. Cruising along, and then I'm going 65, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this skid loader trailer truck combo just comes flying by me like I'm parked, right? He's going like 70. Nah, it's not trying to park, but like 70. He's going like 70. So like, whoa, like, you know. Every time I pull my skid loader, I get a little nervous, and I like that shit's fucking sketchy, dude. Like hauling big loads. Like my opinion is, when you're hauling a big load, you're either an idiot or you're not. You're either oblivious to like the situation, or you're just like a fool. Because like everything changes with load. Like you can't stop, you can't swerve, you can't. All that's all different. So like I usually don't go like super fast with a big trailer, and I don't do evasive maneuvers, and I focus what I'm doing. I keep it between the lanes. So this dude comes flying by me, right? It's like whatever. And then like he starts like going off the road. Like thank God for rumble strips, right? So like he's on the rumble strips and he's back. Well, he happened to hit the rumble strip right when he's going by me, and it's like, if you know anything about skid loaders, I'll let you a little secret about skid loaders. They often are full of detritus underneath. Well, he hits the rumble strip, which is like, well, that just exfoliated the whole fucking truck trailer. So all of a sudden, just dirt everywhere, just flying down the road at 70 miles an hour. Like, Jesus Christ. It was like, I feel like I got passed by a Bond villain, you know, like, deploy dirt cluster bomb, you know, and like all the shit's flying everywhere. Tried to. I'm not sure what that. I tried to. Okay. You tried to fit through the window. Anyways, there might be a delay in the old comment section. Sorry about that. Whatever. And then like as he's flying by me and I'm getting just peppered with rocks and shit, I kind of notice is like, I don't think that dude's trailer lights are working right. Like, what the fuck's going on? Like, they're kind of on, but like, when we were driving down the highway, there's not a lot of turn signaling and braking going on, but like, I mean, I've been around trailers enough, you can kind of tell when the lights aren't going to work right, because like the lights are different colors, because like generally with brakes there's like running lights, they're on, and then like when you put the brakes on they brighten up. And sometimes turn signal will like shut it off and bring it back on bright, or sometimes it'll just whatever. And like the two taillights were two different colors. So like I'm like, oh, he's got like a brake thing going on there, brake light situation. I assume, right? Well, we get up to the corner, we got to turn. That's fine. I know where the guy's going. Like I've seen him up there before. So I'm following him. He puts the brake lights on. He's only got one brake light. He does the signal, and like the signal thing just kind of whatever. It ain't signaling right. No big deal. You know, you're just hauling like a heavy load and on the public roads where there's nuns and children and stuff. And you know, I get to the job site, and of course, I'm me. It's like there's a chance that dude doesn't know. There's a chance he has no idea, right? He has no idea, and he may be responsible and like, oh, I'll get that taken care of right away. You know, like, thanks, bro, type of deal. Well, I mean, I don't know if he'd say thanks, bro. Like probably thanko, bro, because he probably speaks English, but I know he speaks Spanish. I know that about this guy. And nothing's anything wrong with that. I speak a little Spanish too. So I'm like, well, I'm gonna go over there and like give him the heads up, and benefit of the doubt, help the guy out, you know, because like you get pulled over, you got to pay a ticket or whatever. Like, what? Nobody wants that shit. So I walk across the street, go over to the dude that's unloading the trailer. Like I said, I've never met the guy. I was like, hey, and the guy looks at me. He's like, and I was like, your trailer lights aren't working right. I just thought I'd give you a heads up. And the guy is like, he kind of looks at me, and I don't remember exactly how he said it because he didn't speak it in English. He said it in Spanish. He was basically like, El Jefe, blah, 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 blah. The boss is down there. I don't know anything about this shit. I don't speak English. You know, that's kind of how you deal with a bearded dude speaking English to you when you don't want to talk to him. So I, being the international person that I am, I say to him, Los luces de rojo, which means the lights that are red, no trabajo, they don't work. And I use the international signal for the fingers pointing right and left. And of course, when you're feigning ignorance as a person who doesn't quote unquote speak English to ignore talking to someone, you kind of can't ignore that because now I'm speaking your language, right? Like that's not even that broken of Spanish. That's pretty direct Spanish. And I was like, you know, donde está el jefe? Like where's your boss? And like tell your boss that. And, okay. So at that point, I was like, all right, my deed's been done. I saved. That was my disregard. Oh my god. Sometimes you can't take it back, bud. You can't take it back. So there, I did my thing. I'm going back to work. I don't care. I told the employee, who's apparently managed to pass the American citizen test without speaking a word of English, apparently, because that's the only way you could work in America, right? I mean, get a green card running a skid loader? I have no idea. Maybe. I'm not going to say he's illegal, because that wouldn't be fair, because I don't know that, but I guess I don't understand how the world works here. Anyways, I did my deed, right? Told the guy he's going to get his trailer fixed. No big deal. A couple days later, whatever, not a week later, like 5 days later, I see that dude driving down the road. Guess what? Brake light's still broken on his trailer. It's like, Jesus Christ. Well, did the employee tell him? Yo no sé, señor. Porque no blah 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 el jefe, yo tengo fucking tonto. I have no idea how tonto cabeza or whatever the hell it is. I have no idea how it works. But geez Louise. I try to help people, and all that happens is I find out it was a waste of my time. I think I overcooked my egg. I mean, whatever. What else should we talk about? Ooh, I got an update on my front yard. This is fascinating. So if you're watching this series, obviously the series is delayed. Apparently some people in the comment section aren't aware of this because I've been getting comments talking about that. It's like, whoa, yeah. Basically all the videos are at least a month behind it. Or maybe 2, I have no idea. In real life, spoiler, plug your ears if you don't want to hear it. The street is completely poured now. They poured the street. And we won't get into that part, but we'll just talk about what I'm about to talk about here. Under the street, they do compacted rock, and they level it out. Well, they had an extra of that, and they had a pile of it in my yard because, you know, where else would you put that? The other day, I watched them take the pile of rock, that's just a pile, about a skid loader bucket's worth, that was left over from the grading underneath the road. And rather than taking that away, because that's what a responsible person would do with a pile of rock, they just took it and spread it around in my yard and then put dirt and mix it all. It's like, I watched the guy do it. I'm like, Jesus Christ, they just took a literal skid loader, a bucket, and just put it in my yard and spread it around. Which is super unimpressive. I'm just like, Jesus. And then they came and they put, and there's like shit everywhere in the yard. It's like trash. I talked to the inspector guy. I called the city. I was like, dude, there's trash all over my yard. What's going on? And then before anyone did anything about it, they just capped it with the topsoil. So now I have the 4 inches of finished topsoil on top of all this trash. I came over the day, the topsoil's in. I walk out there, I'm pulling, and I'm not exaggerating. You'll see the video. I'm pulling chunks of concrete this big. Like, not quite volleyball size. I pulled one out of the yard, of the topsoil finished. Just chunks of concrete. This is the final dress coat, you know, like the nice dirt. Lots of rocks this big, half bricks, chunks of shit. Just like, what the fuck is happening? I called that inspector, and I was like, well, I'll give him a chance to clean it out or whatever, and like a day or two went by. I called the inspector guy up the other night. I just raged on him. I didn't give a fuck. I was like, dude, I talked to you. I told you this shit was fucked up. You didn't do anything. They fucking top coated that shit. It's just like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Like, what is the point of your job when someone points out that there's shit that needs to be addressed and then you don't make them do it? Like, what the actual fuck? Like, and I'm trying to remain calm, but it's real fucking hard when you're witnessing with your own fucking eyes people putting trash. And I say my yard, it's this parking area. It's the part between my pin and the curb. But they're just burying their trash. Like literally, like, oh, we have a thing that we should deal with. Oh, I know what we should do. Let's just bury it. Because, you know, that's not, here dog, have a little bit of eggs. That trash isn't going to make itself to the surface next year. It's going to take years and years to come to the surface, right? Whatever. It's so fucking garbage. It's so garbage. It's such a shit deal that like they fucked my yard up so bad. There's like a water valve shut off in my yard, and when they put it in, they put it up in the air an extra 6 inches. It's about 6 inches higher than it should be. So what they did is they just graded my yard, so my yard just has this huge hump, and like, it's like, what? like there's no skilled operator that is literally that retarded that thinks that's what a yard should look like, is have just a giant hump up to and then a hump back on a flat part of a yard. It's like, and I talked to the dude about it. I was like, dude, they gotta lower that valve. Oh yeah, they'll do that. I'm like, okay. And they put the top dressing on it and they grade my yard, and it's like, they didn't lower the valve. Oh yeah, well they can still do that. I was like, that's why I mentioned it to you, dude, because now they have to redo it. Like, I'm trying to save people having to redo shit. That's why I bring it to your attention before they do it. See how that works? You bring the problem to the person's attention, they handle it, and then they do the final, and then no one has to redo. But you don't say anything and they fuck it up. Like, Jesus Christ. Absolutely fucking bonkers. So anyways, the road's still closed, right? They got the do not enter the road section up. But they're not pulling the road closed past into my driveway. They're pulling it clear up, so like Rebecca's barely, it's just like are these dudes just like fucking, like, what would be the word? Are they sadists? They must be sadists. They just enjoy others suffering. It's like, dude, just move. Like, the road is paved all the way down completely. You can do whatever you like. Probably 3 18-wheelers could fit on that road now. Drive all the way through if you wanted to. Pull the fucking road close sign down past the fucking public road that's open. Like, open the public road that's fucking open. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You know, if they could move that fucking sign 20 feet down, like, my neighbors could stop parking in my fucking driveway. And they could just park out in the road closer to their house. Like, it benefits everyone. My neighbors could park closer to their own house. And I could just drive straight down my driveway and not have to make a fucking evasive maneuver, you know? Whatever. It's just fucked. The whole thing's fucked. I was so fucking mad last night. I was so fucking mad last night. I think I was in denial about the day before about how much shit was in my yard. And I think I pretended to myself like, oh, maybe they're going to come pull that shit out. You know, I can't get too mad the first day. I'll come back the next day and see how it's like. I was out there trying to like, there's like a piece of half brick, like, you know what a brick looks like? There's a half a brick in my yard, so fucking packed in there with the weight of a skid loader, I couldn't get it out of the dirt. That's the gem. Like, it's like they hard packed the fucking yard with a goddamn skid loader. And it's like, oh yeah, no, that's gonna be a great yard. Like, imagine the aeration of my yard. With a fucking dirt so hard packed, you can't pull a fucking brick out of it. Because it's like polished sheen concrete. You ever seen dirt polished when it's packed so hard it's got a sheen to it? Yeah, that's my whole front yard right now. It's fucking crazy. I knew it was going to be a shit show, and it's going to be a shit show. I've kind of just determined that, like, I'm probably just going to have to fix my own fucking yard at some point. You know, just as soon as I get a little free time, I'll have to, like, come out and fucking... I don't know what I'll have to do. I'll probably have to run the tiller through it, try to break it up. It's like, the problem with my yard is, like, you can't really do my yard with a skid loader because there's no... Sorry. To do my yard correctly, you can't do it with a skid loader because there shouldn't be anything as wide as a skid loader bucket that's flat. I don't have flat on that hill. It's a roll. The hill rolls. It does this. And like skid loader buckets don't do that very well. They do flat in like 6 to 8 feet or 7 foot wide swaths. But yet I have a skid loader graded front yard. Because that's how it's done. Because everyone else's yard, and when I say everyone, I mean literally everyone in the project's yard can be graded with a skid loader. Even the yards that have a little slope to them, they're just like straight flat yards. There's no yards that have rolled curve, except for one, me. See how unique I am? But that means they're just going to do it how they did everyone else's. Like, I don't get a specially, I just get, well, fuck you. I actually talked to one of the workers the other day. I saw him. I was like, dude, did you just bury that concrete? Like, all that shit that was along the curb line, did you just bury that? He's like, what are you talking about? Like, did you just bury all those chunks of concrete that were along the curb line? He's like, oh, no, we pulled those out. I was like, really? So if I go and I walk right to where I saw one like the day before, I was like, if I go right here and I dig up, they're not going to find a foot-long piece of concrete. And the dude just stared at me in dead silence because he knew they buried the concrete. He's like, well, I guess if you want to. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ. Whatever. Let's cook another egg. Whatever. It's just a bunch of shit. I can't remember if I told you guys about how the storm sewer box ended up. Shit's so crazy. They fucked up and they put the storm sewer box too high, right? Because that's too hard to figure out because the blueprint literally tells you exactly where to put it and they have satellite ran GPSs that tells you exactly where it is. But they fucked that up somehow. I have no idea how. Well, when your storm sewer box is too high, you can't put the road on top because there's not enough room for the road to go on top of the storm sewer box. So what you do is you take a concrete saw and you just chop the living shit out of it. And you can't go horizontal because there's not enough room, so you just chop vertical, then you take a hammer, smash it off, and all the rebar's exposed and everything. And like the storm sewer box is a double box with a center part and has like structural rebar in it, but that's all exposed now. Whatever. And I happened to see the inspector, and I was like, "Have you seen this shit? Like, you're just gonna have raw exposed rebar in a storm sewer where the salt runoff goes. Like, do you understand anything in life? Like, how the fuck did you get this job? Like, that ain't gonna last. That's gonna rust to shit and fall apart, and it's just gonna be destroyed." I can't imagine they're using stainless steel rebar in the old concrete fucking storm sewer box. Anyways, he kind of was like, I'm like, whatever, dude. Like, So they put a little cap on top. They trowel a little concrete on top. See, it's officially fixed, which was like the most hack job I've ever seen in my life. And then the day the road was going in, now there may be more to this, but this is what I witnessed. The inspector showed up to look at it. Okay, the inspector left, and as soon as the inspector had left, they broke out a concrete saw and started cutting all that cap off. And when I was leaving my house that morning, there were sparks from rebar showering across the road to where my car was, because they still had to go lower. That is not an exaggeration. I am not making that up, because concrete doesn't spark. Rebar sparks. It's like, what the fuck is happening? I definitely called the city, and I talked to the lady from the city, and I was like, are you aware of this? I was like, you're the head of this project. Did you know that storm sewer is set too high? She's like, I have no idea about that. I was like, you might want to fucking get on top of this, lady. Like, they're making huge mistakes that are not getting fixed. Like, the solution that should have been, the box should have been torn out, the drain tile across the road should have been readjusted and fucking done correctly. Because that storm sewer box is a single box with no inlets except for the drain tiles, and it goes across the road and goes into the creek that way. That's all it is. Like, it's the most basic of the setups there is, and they fucked it up. It's like, dude, I could have got that in with like a bubble level, let alone a laser. Like, how hard would that be? And the other side's wrong too. It's too low, which makes me wonder, is that one going uphill to the fucking, like, they had to put a riser to get to the road, and I don't know how much slope there is from that storm sewer to the top. I mean, it probably drains, but whatever. I mean, some of it's not that complicated. I mean, maybe I sound like an asshole, but like, locating the heights of things when you have known heights and you have transits and lasers and satellites, that's not really that hard to do. Like, of all the things to do, that's one of the easiest ones. Like, even if you got an old school sighted transit, like that's what, when I was a kid, that's what you used. You had a sight glass and you had a stick with numbers on it. And the sight glass had crosshairs. I think if I remember right, it inverted everything too. That was really weird. But anyways, a person would, you'd set up your transit, and then you'd go around and you'd find a known location, which, if I'm not mistaken, they use fire hydrants. I think I watched them do that. They pick a fire hydrant or something. That seems to be a common thing, because fire hydrants tend not to move very much. Like on my job site, what we call that the God location. It's a known location that's never going to move, and that way you can reorient every day. So if you know a single height of something that never moves, every day you can reset up, and you can just go to that location, wherever your transit is, you sight it, that's the number, and then you do your math backwards off that number all day long. And that's how you would, that's how you do that. And they managed to mess that up. When I was raging on the phone last night with the inspector, he informed me that aggregate less than 3 inches was acceptable. 3-inch aggregate is acceptable. And I'm like, why would 3-inch concrete be acceptable? Because what they told me was the reason that you're going to have rock in your yard is because when they do these rock-packed roads, there's going to inevitably be some of that rock, which is about, I don't know, an inch at max, maybe an inch and a half, is going to kind of spill around, which I can accept. That's fine. But why would there be 3-inch rock everywhere if it's 1.5 inch aggregate? Like, how does that work? That's called trash. Like, the neighbor's yard was asphalt. They put the neighbor's asphalt in my yard. I have asphalt in my yard now, in my top dressing, because they didn't take all the asphalt from the pile out. They got most of it. Then they just back drug the asphalt around. It's like, dude, what the fuck? I have asphalt in my yard now. there was no asphalt involved in this project except for one driveway was an asphalt driveway. And when they tore it out, they brought it to my house and put it in my yard. They didn't put the asphalt driveway in the dude's yard who had the asphalt driveway. They brought it to my house and put it in my yard. And now I have asphalt. It's like, I feel like I'm turning into a crazy person. Like, I'm thinking about going down to my neighbor's house who has asphalt. It's like, dude, you need to get your fucking asphalt driveway out of my goddamn yard, because that shit's crazy, dude. Like, asphalt, like, asphalt ain't great, man. That's not made of, asphalt's not made of, like, basil and tomatoes and mozzarella, you know. Asphalt's a petroleum product. Like, petroleum in your yard, yeah. Like, there's some people that kind of claim that asphalt should be banned because of the runoff from it. I'm not particularly saying that, but, like, I don't want it in my goddamn yard. Like, Jesus. Whatever. Feels good to cry about it. Ain't nothing gonna happen. I know there ain't gonna be anything happen. Okay. Just for fun, I brought up. I was like, well, I was told this is from the Wayback Machine. I was told both my stumps were supposed to be dug out. I was told that. I went to the city, went to the meetings, asked specifically, when you tear my trees out, are you taking the stumps out? They're like, yeah, we're gonna take the stumps out. Take them all out. I was like, good, because I don't want stumps rotting out. When they did my stump removal, the guy just bashed the shit out of the one stump, got it down below grade and put dirt on top. I bitched. They dug the second one out. The stump was so big, it barely fit in an 18-wheeler side dump. It was huge. They could barely move the thing. They couldn't pick it up with a payloader. They had to like push it and like drag it. It was insane. And then I was like, when are you going to dig the second one out? They're like, oh, when we do the sewer lines, the second one will come out. No, there's no sewer lines next to the second one. They never dug it out. It's still there. I'm pretty sure if I could get a copy of the locations that they did, because they marked all the trees, we could get a shovel and we could dig down about 1.5 feet and we're going to hit a stump. I'm almost positive of it. Because I never saw them manhandling a 12-foot stump. And I brought that up, and there was, I got silence. I got silence on the phone, and I was like, can you answer me, yes or no? Did they dig my stump out? And the guy was like, I was like, yeah, the answer's no, dude. They didn't do it. You need to get on top of this shit, dude. Like, this is supposed to happen, and you're the guy that's supposed to be fucking doing it. Not the first time, you know. I told the guys, like, I'm having flashbacks to the driveway. Remember the driveway? When I tried to stop you from doing it wrong, and everybody told me I was wrong, and I didn't know what I was talking about, and it turns out that I literally knew what I was talking about, and everybody else was doing their job wrong. Like, God, man. What am I making? Cooked egg? A heart attack? I'm brewing up a heart attack right now? It's just like, my God, dude. I'm starting to feel like almost all the interactions I have with other human beings is the assumption that I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, and I'm a dipshit, and all I've done my entire life is lied to people, been a scoundrel, fucked around, and been shady, because almost every fucking person I talk to interacts with me like as though that's the case. And I could probably count on one finger the times I spouted a bunch of retarded nonsense, and it was abso-fucking-lutely wrong. Once. And I'm just saying that because it would make me sound like a sociopath if I didn't say I did it at least once. I can't. My philosophy in life is, if you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, like, shut the fuck up. Like, why would you say something if you didn't actually know what you were talking about? Is the egg done yet? Sure is. Just finished it. It's like I wouldn't tell the inspector that they need to clean the trash out of my yard before they top dress it. If they didn't need to clean the trash out of my yard before, like, oh, I want you to come do imaginary work. Like, dude, there's like insane amounts of shit in my yard. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, I'm trying to think what else I pulled out of my yard yesterday. I found like a mostly buried like bottle, like a bottled water. That's in my top dress soil, my final. And I asked the guy on the phone, I was like, do you suppose the guy that's selling this company their topsoil is selling it with bottled water in the dirt? Like, do you think they're getting bottled water in their purchased product? Do you think the guy's leaving asphalt in there? Because I know how it works. It goes through a screen. That dirt's coming pure clean. There's no landscaping cloth, which I pulled out. There's no giant chunks of root, which I've pulled out. There's no half bricks, which are still wedged in there. None of that's in there. They're fucking up. I assume when the guy's back dragging, he's probably hitting that shit that's below the surface, and like, you know, it's like, whatever. Just like, Jesus Christ. Okay, maybe they can give the dog these eggs. Have some eggs. Hold on, dog. You're gonna get egg on your head. You're gonna get egg on your face. Whatever. All right. I didn't have toast. I forgot to do that. So, I mean, like everything else in life, I guess I'm just going to turn the hobby of my yard being completely fucking done by a bunch of goddamn amateurs. And if you guys are watching this somehow, fix it. And I won't call you a bunch of goddamn amateurs, but like, that's like what an amateur would do. a lazy, and they'll probably get it from the boss. You know, the boss is probably like, no, stop hauling trash out. Just bury it in that guy's yard. It's just like, what the fuck? Where's the dog? Show the dog. Dog's eating eggs off a plate. Wishing there was more eggs in a bigger plate. Probably. Dog? No, she's not interested in looking. Alright. So like last week I totally forgot to make I'm having so much fun ranting about the fucking garbage that's going on. We're just gonna keep going. I'm gonna make some Gatorade and some pink lemonade. Actually, I might make 2 pink lemonades because you know what tastes good? You guys take a guess. I'll give you 2 guesses. That's my new thing. When I ask a question, I say, I'll give you 2 guesses. That way, if you guess wrong, you can redeem yourself and get it right. You know what tastes good? I'll give you 2 guesses. Guess in the comment below if you can guess what tastes good. Take a guess. Comment below. What are you doing now? We've entered the part of the live stream where it's called the game show section, where you get to guess what tastes good. Is it Frost Cool Gatorade or Country Time? Because I'm gonna make here. I'm gonna set the bottles up. I'm gonna make 1 of one and 2 of the other. Can you guess which one I prefer for a refreshing drink? Take a guess. Pink. That's a pretty good guess. I think you got it, bud. Good guess. All right, let's do this. What am I doing? Get the funnel. Check. Let's get this set up. Let's get this going. Okay, according to my math, which is middle school at best, use this much Country Time drink mix, 2 scoops, equivalent measurement, a 1/3 cup. Well, we're just gonna use the scoops there for 1 quart. All right. Does anyone know how many quarts in a gallon? Well, let's do the math. 2 scoops is a quart. 4 scoops is 2 quarts. 8 scoops is a gallon. Right? So 2 quarts is a half gallon because that's 4 and 8. 4 is half of 8. See how that works? See how that works, kids? And then if a half gallon is 4 scoops, a half gallon is 2 scoops. That's a half gallon right there. See how that works? 2 scoops. Let's go. I'll give you 2 guesses how many scoops it takes. Let me see if I can figure out how to do this. You know, I'm going to film the back of my dirty elbow. I'm counting my scoops. Here we go. 1 scoop. Actually, what is really good, I'll give you the secret. You get a big cup. I'll show you the size. We'll use scale for banana for scale. This is what's known as a pint glass here. Know thy stuff. And this is known as a bigger than a pint glass. See, the pint glass is actually, well, it's about the same rim, but like no taper. So it's a big glass. You know, in big glasses, you put like a bunch of ice in there, and you pour yourself like either a Sprite. Oh shit, I forgot to count. Was that 2? Did I do 2? Comment below if I did 2 in there. I forgot to count. Got distracted by my story. 1, 2. We'll check the sugar power pile after the fact. See if we got 2 in there. It looks like we did. How did we do? Yeah, that's 2 in there. So anyways, fill that thing with ice, and then you hit that thing with like a 7-Up or a Sprite, dude. And then you top it with the pink lemonade. Bam! That is good. I'm telling you what. All right, on this little math equation here, since we already learned that we're doing a quart because that's a quart, because that's a half gallon. Right, half gallon. Half gallon. 2 scoops. 1 scoop is half gallon. See? That's a bigger scoop. Not all scoops are equal, kids. Not all scoops are equal. Now, the thing I'll tell you, it's kind of weirding me out. The pink lemonade makes the glass bottle smell like pink lemonade. I really don't understand that. Like, that's super strange, but I figure it's all going to my belly anyways. And I think also the pink lemonade leaves a residue. Like the Gatorade doesn't leave a residue that I can see, but the pink lemonade does, or whatever. Let's raise this up a little bit. I got a little glare coming from that under mount there. Oh, that reminds me. What were you eating under there? Comment below. What were you eating under there? The other day, what were you eating under there? Comment below. What were you eating under there? I love the delay of the internet. Nothing? Come on now. What were you eating under there? Now don't forget to leave a little headroom in there so you can do the shake. If you don't do the shake, you're going to get a bunch of solid sugar at the bottom of your bucket. Man, tough crowd. No, everyone knows the answer, or they don't want to, or they can't remember. They probably can't remember what they're eating under there. Uh-oh. Was that the lid to the water? Maybe that's the lid to the Gatorade. Gotta recharge. All right. We're running out of water, kids. I'm trying to think what else is on tap for the. Jesus, I am out of water. This is embarrassing. Where are all the lids? That's a lid. There should be one more lid laying around here someplace. Anybody see the lids? Jackpot. Why do I buy pink lemonade powder? That wasn't the question. The question was, what were you eating under there? The other day, what were you eating under there? Come on now. What were you eating under there? Jeez. Can't even have any fun. Oh, sorry, I didn't read that right. Where do I buy the pink lemonade powder? My pink lemonade powder comes from Sam's Club. They sell yellow and pink. I'm currently out of yellow. Boxer briefs? Yeah, underwear? You're eating underwear? I kind of thought that might actually work for a second, if you know what I mean. Oh man, which one was my water cap? This one. I'm sniffing caps right now. Look at me. Smells like pink lemonade? Smells like nothing. That's gonna be the pink lemonade cap. Let's go. I don't know if that's right. I try to keep that separate. You may ask yourself, why aren't you making 2 Gatorades? Well, the answer is there's still Gatorade in the fridge, kids. Although it's been nearly completely drank. Nearly. Oh man, is it the wrong color cap? If you put some water in it first, it shakes easier. Well, I'm gonna let you in a little secret there. Shakes easier. You've witnessed me shake this, right? You witnessed that, right? Now look at the bottom. You see how it's still solid sugar? So until you get the full amount of water in there, it will never have enough liquid to saturate the powder. This one will be doing it too. See, look. You see how that's all sugar on the bottom there? If I shake it, it'll start disappearing. See how it disappeared? Disregard the crumbs. That's why I do the almost full, and then you get the shake going, and you can still agitate it. See how this one's got the sugar on the bottom? It resettled because that first almost 3/4 amount of sugar in there, the water saturated up all that could handle. It couldn't take anymore. But now that I filled it up, I should be able to get all the granulars to liquefy. Well, even that one's resettled a little bit. It'll still resettle even with the full amount of water. But yeah, you can't liquefy all that until the full amount of water's in there. No. So when I filled it to here and I shook it, I got all the sugar off the bottom. There was none stuck. That's resettling. It's just settling back down. See, that one resettled again. there's like a saturation point where it can't take any more of the crystals in. So you got to have the full amount of water in there. So, whoa! The dog just about knocked the camera over. The only reason I can tell you that is I've been making this for, well, I'm not going to say how long exactly, but it's been, we can count it in decades. I've been making powdered sugar drinks. What you're seeing isn't it stuck to the bottom because of the stuckness. You're seeing it resettle. See, now that one's clear now because there was enough pure water. And there's still a little bit floating back down there. It's resettling out. The what do you call it? The pink lemonade has a harder time, but it eventually mellows out. Gatorade's good to go. The Gatorade doesn't settle out as much. Like if this sits for a few days, you'll get a little bit of white that'll form on the bottom. The pink lemonade, you always have to shake it before you serve it. It always has a settle out. I'm sure there's a scientific name for it. Look, something to do with like fluid saturation level. Like you ever heard like dilution is a solution to pollution? The same concept as fun dip. I'm not sure. When it comes to fun dip, does that mean like you can only lick the fun dip stick and only have so much sugar to the fun dip, and then at some point there's no more fun dip sticking? Actually, I still have a little bit of lemonade too. Here, let's see. We'll do this came out of the fridge, so let's look at the bottom of this one. So it's not bad. That's pretty good. But I bet this one's gonna have something stuck on the bottom. Yeah, see how there's like the sugars on the bottom, but you shake it, it all goes away. The lemonade just separates out a little bit more. Oh, the dog is getting pinched. Dog, what are you doing? I left the door open. The dog just got pinched by the. Oh, Pooch. The old Pooch just got wedged in the old refrigerator door. Poor doggy. Alright. Are there any gummy bears left? Well, I mean, yeah, but let's see if we can get this monologue going. Gummy bears left. I mean, if this was a bag of drugs, you need to get a hold of your drug dealer. You're down to open. Hey. What are you looking at my cabinets for, you weirdo? Those are my cabinets. All right. Now, the one thing I'll say, Albanese, if Albanese is having you watching, I feel as though that you are ripping me off when it comes to the, well, it's not the cherries, the mango. I think that you're shorting me on the mangoes. There's a lot of mango in here. God, these are so good. I had to stop eating them, dude. I was feeling like a Ziploc bag to have in the car so I can have a snack when I'm driving or at lunch or whenever you want to snack. I sure wasn't lasting like a day. I just eat the whole bag. I could probably eat all of these right now. The green apple. I mean, it's green apple. I've just never been into green apples though. Nice willpower. I have a couple more. I mean, I've had it for a week. It was 5 pounds, dude. How long should 5 pounds of gummy bears last? If you eat a half a pound a day, those had to have lasted me like 3 weeks, right? As soon as I could look that up on Amazon. You probably don't want to know. I feel because there's no Ziploc bag, there was more urgency. Where are the Albanese gummy bears made? I think, if I remember right, it's like, is it Indiana? Is that where they're based out of? Or Ohio or something? Let's see if I can find it out. For best texture, I have until 2024 to eat these. Indiana. Maryville, Indiana. So, there's that. I miss anything else? Nice willpower. Yeah, no, it's not easy being me. And no, I don't eat like a whole bowl of gummy bears for dinner ever. I never do that. Oh, that coffee's ice cold. I got one more cup left. I made 3 cups today. Well, this went extremely long. It must have been. I must have gotten a time dilation warp when I started ranting about the goddamn rocks in my yard because nothing pisses me off more than that. All right. Well, it's been fun. Thanks for tuning in. Enjoy your bacon and eggs and your gummy bears. I will catch you. Peace on the next one. Yeah, I'm out. Later.